Alright YouTube, in this video we are going to convert HTML theme into Codeigniter framework. Fine. In the previous video we have seen how to convert single page theme into Codeigniter framework. Here we are going to convert multiple pages. In the menu you can see there are 3 pages. We are going to convert these 3 pages into Codeigniter project. Fine. In this video we are going to learn routing concept, and don't worry about the source code. You will get the source code in the description box, and you will get the steps to follow. Don't In the notepad I have created the steps. Let me show you. And these are the HTML theme. You can see it says index.html page with the extension HTML, and this is a theme. We are going to convert it into the Codeigniter framework. You can see it's running on the XAMPP. The URL itself shows localhost. That's mean it's a server, Apache server. As I said, these are the steps which you will get in the description box along with the source code of this project. Let's start. These steps are divided into sections, and we are going to follow each sections in just 20 minutes. Fine. Now, the very first step is to create Codeigniter project. For that, let me open the HTML template first. It's in the desktop. Let me open it in my favorite editor, which is Notepad++. We'll open all the 3 pages. This is for just copy pasting. It would be convenient. That's the reason why I used Notepad++. Now you need to make sure whether your XAMPP is running or not. Mine is running because you have seen the project on localhost. Fine. And the next step is to download the Codeigniter project. To download the Codeigniter project, you will get the official website, which is Codeigniter. In that you will get 3 versions of Codeigniter. Codeigniter 4, Codeigniter 3 and Codeigniter 2. Codeigniter 4 is for the future, Codeigniter 3 is for the current version. We will use the Codeigniter 3. And what I did is I have already downloaded it and placed it on my HTDOCS folder. I'm going to extract it, and this extracted file acts as our Codeigniter project. As you can see, this is a project with the version 3.1.9, and I'm going to paste it on the root directory. Fine, it's already in the XAMPP folder. That means we can use it. Let's give the name of our project as simple website. Fine. As I said, it's already we have already renamed it. Fine. Now let's open. It's already in the HTDOCS folder. Now we are going to open the Sublime editor. If you open the project, you will see welcome to Codeigniter. That means our project is working fine. Now we are going to open this Codeigniter folder in our Sublime text. The reason for using Sublime text is because the view or the interface of the Sublime text is very simple. You can see the folder structure. You can very clearly understand what I am saying. That's the reason I choose Sublime text. Yeah, it's in the HTDOCS folder of XAMPP. You might be familiar with XAMPP. Fine, we have completed the first section. Now it's time to modify the config folder. It's inside the application folder. This is a folder. The first file we are going to modify is the Autoload file, which will load at default. So we have to modify the 2 lines, which is we need to specify which libraries should load default. The libraries are database and email, and we need a helper called URL helper. We are passing it to the array. Fine. The next step is to modify the config file. We know our base URL is localhost / our project name, and we are going to use as a base URL. I'll make you sure why do we need base URL in this tutorial. Don't worry. Now it's time to modify the database file. Localhost is the host name, and the username is root, which is default one for the XAMPP, and the password is blank for the default one. Now we're going to understand how Codeigniter works. When there is a request for the URL of our project, what Codeigniter will do is Codeigniter will open the routes.php. I'll show you where the routes.php will be, but first let's understand what it does. It goes to the routes.php. Inside the routes.php we will know the controller name, default controller name for loading, and this controller name, inside the controller we will get to know the controller name. After getting to the controller name, we will know the location of the controller. Once we find the location of the controller, inside the controller the code is for displaying the HTML file, and this displaying of the HTML file will be in the folder called views. Fine. Inside the config you will find the routes.php. In the routes.php, as I said, you will get to know the controller name. It will say the default controller as welcome. Here we can find the controller welcome in the controller folder. As I said, it's the welcome name. See, it's also the welcome name, and inside you can see this is the HTML page which is loading. Inside the views you can find this is the views, and this is the page which is default loading. Fine. When you refresh, this is the page. Welcome underscore message is what defaults load by the controller. Fine. Now, as I said, this is a page. We are going to copy. We have understood the routes, we have understood the controller, we know where the page is loading. Now it's time to convert HTML to Codeigniter. We have followed these steps. The first thing is, we know the HTML, this is the basic index page, right? Now what we'll do is, if you refresh, it is nothing, we have already removed it. Now paste the HTML index page content to the welcome message page. Now you will find, as we know, we have not placed the CSS file, JavaScript file and images file. So let's get into the HTML template. It's in the desktop, and here you will find the folder called assets, which will have all the CSS, JavaScript and images file. Just copy it and paste it in our root directory, which is our basic website. Our folder name is simple website, and paste it. As you can see, we have pasted it below the application. Now if you refresh, we will get to know why we need base URL, base underscore URL function. If you press Ctrl U again to the source code, you can see we get the relative path. We don't get the absolute path. If the code is working, that's okay, but we need the absolute path. Absolute path is localhost slash. Absolute path is basically starts from the domain name. Here our domain name is the localhost slash our project name. So for that, what we'll do is we will find the file, and we will make the PHP to dynamically output the absolute path with the help of base URL, which we have modified it on the config file, config.php file a minute ago. Fine. Now if you refresh, it is not showing up because we have not added echo. It is taking dynamically, but if you write echo, you will get to know the absolute path on the source code. Fine. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this for all CSS file, for all JavaScript file and for all images file. Fine. Now what we are going to do is, now it's time to add the multiple pages. We have added the index page. Now it's time to add the multiple pages. Before that, you need to know one thing. So this is the header, is common for all HTML pages. So we will make it separate. The same way the footer is going to be same. We are going to separate it. Fine. This is the index page, and this is this is the header and the footer. The HTML is taking time, but once it's loaded, I want to show you we have common header. In the home page you can see the header is same, the about page is also header is same, the contact page also the header is same. Let's get into the footer. For the about.html, the footer is same. For contact.html, the footer is going to be same. So we know the common part, which is header and footer. Now we need to know the unique part. The unique part is simply other than header and footer. Here in this page, from slider till where the footer starts is the unique content. Fine. In the about page, from here, from the slider till here is the unique page. From the same way for contact, it till here, till the contact form ends, is the unique content. Now what we do is we will separate these content and paste it it start from header and hence in footer, and we will place it in a different file. This file will be on the views folder. Please note, this file will be on the views folder. Fine. Now let's name it as, since it's an index page, we will name it as index hyphen content. As you can see on the file explorer, it shows the application. Inside application we have views. Fine. Now it's time for the unique content for about. Let's find the about page and let's get the unique content. It starts from header and ends above footer. Copy it and go to the Sublime and save it on the views folder. Let's name it as about hyphen content.php. The same way we are going to do it for the contact page. We know the unique content. Let's get it from starting from a header and ends before footer. Copy it and paste it on the new file and save it on the views folder of our current Codeigniter project. Let's name it as contact hyphen content.php. Now what we need is this is not the section. Before that, we would check whether we need the absolute URL to be passed. So that I have already done this. You can see we'll check for all the images whether there is absolute path fixed or not. Yes, we have done it. Let's check it for all the pages. This is the about page and this is the contact page. Fine. Now it's all done. Now we need to keep the common file. This common file, we know the common file is welcome hyphen message underscore message. We will keep this header and footer on this common page, and only the middle section is going to be changed dynamically with the help of controller. Fine. Now we have header in the above, from the above section it's header. These are the header and these are the footer. So the welcome page has only header and footer. Fine. Now in between this page, in between this section, the whole content, index content, is going to be dynamically appended here. Not only for the index page, we are going to do this for about page, and we are going to do this for the contact page also. This is done with the help of controller. Why controller comes here? I'll show you the working of Codeigniter. For that, we need to understand the routes section. So the routes section says that we need to create a variable, and this variable will hold this index content page. All the index content page will be saved on the variable. And here let's understand it's a variable, but actually we are passing the variable to the views. Fine. So get this variable, and this variable will have the class. So this is a variable name which will hold all the index content. As I said, we are not going to use the variable name itself, but we are going to load. You can see we are going to load the load class, and inside the load class we have a method called view, and inside the view we will pass this content. So these all content will be replaced by this code. So how we are going to pass this? So that's the reason why we are going to know how controller comes here. Fine. When there is a request for this URL, let me check why there is error, because I have added echo. I know. Now I'm going to remove it. Unique content is not yet defined. That's the reason. Fine. So when there is a request for this URL, what controller will do is, what Codeigniter will do is, Codeigniter will get into the web routes.php. Routes.php will be in the config folder. Inside the config folder, it will search for the routes. In the routes folder, we will get to know the controller name. This is the controller, and the controller says load the index. So we are going to pass it with the second argument on the views function. So this is the array, and this is the unique content which we are going to pass, as we have used this same variable on the welcome page, and this unique content variable will have the view index content. As I said, if you refresh it, the content has come up. So this error is because of the echo. Now we are going to remove the echo on the welcome page, welcome and underscore message page. It clearly shows the number. Fine, we need to remove this, and the error will show, and the error will go away. The error is coming now. If I remove, the error will go away. Fine. Now let's understand the URL structure of the controller. Fine. Now what Codeigniter will do is Codeigniter will get into the let's wait. Okay, now we'll understand the function on the controller. So when this loads, when the URL loads, it will get into the routes page. It will go to the index.php page, and the index.php page, after that it will go for the controller. When this controller runs, if you enter it, this index page is the function slash, after slash there is the index. So this index is the function. This index will load the view called welcome message, and this welcome message will get appended. Fine. If I copy paste the function and change the function name as about, and I will pass the about content to be stored on the variable unique content. I have mistakenly removed it. Now I'm adding it again. So when the about function load, I want the variable should have the value of the about hyphen content.php page. So if you run this function, you'll see there is a extra curly bracket. Now if you run the function of about, the unique content has the unique if you run this function, the unique content variable holds the about hyphen content.php, which is on the views page, and this unique content we are passing to the view as the second argument, and Codeigniter will access the data's variable, which is unique content, on the welcome underscore message, and the code runs in between the header and footer. Fine. Now write the contact the same way. Now if I write contact, the contact function will load the view of contact hyphen content.php from the views folder. Now we have done all this. Now it's time to know, or it's time to add the menu with the help of site underscore URL. Now if I click on the about, or if you get into the source code, you will see home is connected to index.html, about.html, and connect.html. His .html will not work here. For that, as I already said, this is Codeigniter will fetch the URL. This is the home URL. As I said, localhost / simple website is the folder or the project name, followed by Codeigniter will append index.php to it. After the index.php, there is a welcome, which with W capital, it's the controller name, and after the welcome there is /index. Index is a function name, and this index loads the index page. And after welcome, if you add about, and the about function will run, and after welcome class, if you add /content, it will load the function content. That's what we are going to do here. We are not going to directly paste the location, For that, what we'll do is there is a function in Codeigniter called site underscore URL. We have already seen base underscore URL. This site underscore URL will give the controller location. For the site underscore URL, we need to pass the argument called class name. Our class name, we know it's welcome. We have seen it on the routes.php. We have not echoed it. That's the reason we could not see it on the source code. Refresh it. Still, we did not get the. We do this for about. We do this for contact. If you refresh it, you will see index, about, and contact are shown up. If you echo the site URL, you will get the controller's path, absolute path of the controller. Index.php slash welcome. Index.php slash welcome. We need to add the slash, and that would work. If you refresh it, if you click on about, you will get the about page. If you click on content, you will get the content page. We did not change, or we did not added the base URL to the footer. Let's add the base URL with the help of the default or the Codeigniter function base URL. That's all for this tutorial. Thank you for listening. Don't worry, you will get the source code in the description along with the steps which I have shown you on the notepad will also be there in the description box. And that's it. Let's compare the HTML and our Codeigniter. Index page, and this is about page, and this is about.html. Both are same. This is contact, our Codeigniter page, and this is contact.html. Both are same. Thank you so much for listening. Fine.